So last time we only got up to the second chorus in G flat major, and I told you there's the aspect of the right or wrong options left in my intended message for the song. And if you still remember how I normally structure the narrative for my songs, you would probably expect that to come up in the bridge right now. And you'd be right, I'm doing that in the bridge, but probably not in a way that you would anticipate. But let's hear how it sounds first. I'm not holding you to think of someone else. Was it too fast that it wouldn't last? Were we ever really in love? Was it too fast that we already crashed? Were we ever really in love? Now, if you pay close attention to the lyrics, you would see that I'm only asking questions here. I'm still not deciding which is the right or the wrong option yet. I'm just debating which one is right for me, and I'm showing that whole process as is. Now, this is an important point of the song, and you see why in a bit and how it's being carried over into the production as well. But I'll show you that in a bit. So the fact that we're still debating at this point in the song confirms that we're at a crossroad. We're still at a crossroad, even at this point in the song. And this song is not about choosing the right option. It's about being confronted by the multiple options that you have. The verses already present all the evidence that this is not working out, and the chorus literally starts with "let me go." We're still going back and forth. We're not deciding anything yet, and the fact that even at this point, like very close to the ending of the song, we're still at a crossroad might suggest that we're so torn between the options that we probably paralyzed. But I'll leave the interpretation up to you. Also, musically, did we change key again? Yes, we did. And after going from E flat major to E flat minor and then to G flat major, now we're back in E flat major, which was rather simple to do. All we had to do is go into A flat minor, which is still in the key of G flat major, but it's also the minor 4 of E flat major, which then allows us to go to A flat over B flat. It's just an A flat major chord with a B flat in the bass, which then allows us to sit nicely back in E flat major again. Okay, but why do we go back here? And no, I didn't just feel like it, although I might have. But like I told you, we're at a crossroad here and we're considering our options, right? So musically, we should also be reflecting that and going back and forth as well. Also, we're getting close to the end of the song, which means that we are running out of time to make our decision. So we have to pick one of the options now by the time the song ends, right? So what did we end up choosing? So just to remind you, musically, our options are E flat major, E flat minor, and G flat major. Those are our options so far. So let's see where we end up choosing. I'll start from the bridge again. Was it too fast that it wouldn't last? Were we ever really in love? Was it too fast that we already crashed? Were we ever really in love? Let me go. Let me be where my heart is free of guilt to know. Maybe it's the same for you, 'cause you know that we no longer look like we've ever been close. I'm not holding you to think of someone else. So we chose neither of those. And we end up in F major, which is interesting because it's right in between those options that we had. It's not a whole step down in E flat major. It's not a half step up in G flat major. It's in F major. Out of all the keys that we've done so far in the song, F major has the least amount of accidentals, right? When you think about it, like E flat major has 3, G flat major has 6, but F major only have 1. So what does that mean? Well, one way I look at it is that in music, accidentals are what you use to adjust the note. For example, in E flat major, the B natural is not the right note, so you flatten it to B flat. So it becomes the right note. E flat major needs 3 of them, G flat major needs 6 of them, but F major only needs 1 of them. That means that it's the one that needs the least amount of work to be the correct one, I would say. That's how I look at it, which can also potentially implies it to be the right option amongst all the options that we have in the song. Okay, that's enough music theory. Let's head over to the production now because I have a lot of cool things to show you. Let's go. Okay, so we're in the logic session of the song now, and usually 90% of the time my usual workflow is having the song already written out on either guitar or piano before I even produce it. And I think the reason Option was able to turn out this particular way was because of that very workflow of mine. Basically, I find the direction for the track production within the song itself. That doesn't necessarily mean that I only produce what I think the song needs, but I rather look further into the song and like what's the meaning of the song is, and like what are the aspects of the song that I can reflect musically. And this track might actually be the best example of that very approach of mine. Okay, so around the time that I wrote this song, Options, I was quite into orchestral music for some reason. Maybe because I was doing an orchestration subject at uni. But I was really contemplating, like seriously contemplating between my usual band instruments production or the orchestra, like writing the full orchestra to accompany the song. But then when I looked at the keyword of the song, it's not the option or the right option. It's options, plural, right? So I was thinking, instead of choosing one or the other, why not just have both of them? Like both the orchestra and the band. The fact that we can include both of them also reflect musically the message of the song that I want. Like we're at a crossroad. We are contemplating our options here. We're not choosing one or the other. So presenting both of them at the same time nails the point. In addition to that, because like these two sound worlds are very different from each other, in a way, they also reflect my own real-life options as a musician, as an artist as well. Because I got into music and singing as a kid through pop music, right? And as I get into music more and study music, I got exposed more often to classical music and art music in general. So now I'm also at a crossroad with my music. Like, which sound world does my music belong to? Is it the classical art music, orchestra, instrument side, or the pop music, band instrument, rock, R&B, whatever? That's my crossroad at the moment. So let's get into the track now. So for the intro, I let the orchestra open the song, open the track with this theme on the cello. Because if you didn't know, I absolutely love the cello. I have it play in free time as well, along with a bass drone in the back. So it goes like this. As you can tell, I drowned it in delay and reverb to have this big, massive stereo fill or soundstage. It's all for setting up. And then in the second half of the theme, we have the whole orchestra comes in. And by that, I mean the whole orchestra, like the whole woodwind family. As you can see here, we got flute, clarinet, oboe, and then we have the brass, horns, trumpet, trombone, and different articulation as well. We even have a harp later, and the solo cello, of course, and then we have the strings. We have these are the sample that I double up with the real instrument, which are technically also samples, and another double bass as well. Yep, the whole orchestra. So the second half of the theme sounds like this, which is pretty massive. Yep. Once everything, I want to set up the stage and like having that massive orchestral sound for the opening, everything cuts off. And then I count the band in. So why did I do that? Well, like I told you, we are presenting two separate sound world in the song. So before the song even starts, before we even get to the verse or any of the lyrics, I want to set it very clear that these are the two sound worlds that we have in the song, and I want to establish both separately in their own respective space before we do something else with them later on in the song. But yep, here you have it. So yep, for the band section, like that sound world, I keep it really simple. Drums, literally I only have like kick, rim shot, and hi-hat. Just like that. Let me solo for you. Keep it tight and simple. Then there is bass, of course. There's some delay in there for some reason, but I like it. And then we have keys. Each layer, one of them is this analog synth, and the other one I call it kitten keys. I think it's the name of the preset as well. It sounds like this. And then when I layer both of them together, we have this. And there is also guitar as well. Yep. Which I also drown in, I think it's a preset, Logic. I drowned it in, yep. It's very in the back. And then for the whole band section, it sounds like it goes together. Then we get to the verse, which is pretty similar to the intro previously, but then I drop out a drum in the first 3 counts of the first bar.
I'm finding myself weighing my options. I'm feeling my eyes blurring away.
And then the second half of the verse, we have this shaker. This is actually, I call it the pepper shaker because it actually was the pepper that I used. And I recorded straight in because I don't want to have everything too in time. So I just grabbed my pepper bottle or whatever you call it. And it literally just record me shaking it. Then you have it. Let me solo you the percussion and the drums. So you can hear it has this kind of like tight and loose vibe at the same time for the rhythm section. When we get to the pre, the orchestra comes back. And like I told you, we're having two separate sound walls here. The intro, the first half of the intro was for the orchestra, the second half the intro was for the band, and then the verse one was for the band as well. And then the pre-chorus is for the orchestra, the chorus is for the band. That's how I separate the section of the song into a separate sound wall as well. Now that is important because at the start I keep them separate, but later on we're gonna see some collision between the two, which has some really cool synergy, I would say. But back to the pre-chorus. So what's going on here? Well, first of all, as you can tell, we have a pad here. Glue everything together. It's very subtle in the back. And then in terms of the orchestra, we have the different articulation here. We have staccato on the woodwind. And then double bass at this. I also push it to the side as well, so it's a contrast to the bass in the band as well. And the second half of the pre, we have the strings coming in, which sounds like this. Yeah. Is that it? Yeah. Yep. It's really easy to make the orchestra sound massive. Well, because like I did study orchestration after all, but like you can tell, like we don't have much going on, and this sounds much bigger than the band. We only have like 3 woodwinds, the string family, which already can sound massive on its own already. Then a pad would glue everything together. Then we get to the chorus, which is very similar to the verse again.